Nash, fantastic show, winner of the Griffin races last season. You rode him in a gallop recently. What feel did he give you?
Yeah, quite good. Although he's had that experience last season, he sort of still feels like he's learning his craft a little bit. He's drawn perfectly in one, but he's sort of, to me, jumping out the other morning, he's sort of a bit slow and a bit awkward out of the gates, and takes sort of 100 yards to find his feet. So hopefully that's not the case, and he can sort of take up a bit more prominent position and travel well there. And how he finished his work off the other morning late, he's certainly a chance.
Mead choice certainly going well. Good trainer to be riding for at the moment.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I've been fortunate enough to, Mead supported me actually with my first winner in Hong Kong here on an international day some years ago. So, always good to ride for him, and he turns his horses out in great order.
Paul, we haven't seen Star of Patch of the races since the end of January. What's kept him away for so long?
He had a chip in his knee, and which has been removed, and it all looks pretty good there. And he was going to race right at the end of the season, and he got a temperature just before the race. So that's the reason for his long absence between runs.
What's the process been like getting him back?
Yeah, pretty good. He's had a couple of trials. He's got pretty tough constitution, and probably needed the 2 trials to prepare him for this, but both his trials were fine, and he's certainly a better horse on the grass than what he is on the dirt.
What's his condition like then going into this first up run?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Naturally enough, he's going to take some benefit from the run, but the biggest concern is the gate. He's on the outside, so he's going to have to give him a bit of a start, but he has in the past finished very strongly.
Nash, good days. What do you think of his run first up?
Excellent run. He's sort of had to give him a chance from a wide draw, and settled in the back half of the field, and just sort of basically let him sort of come into it as he wound up naturally, and sort of coming to the 300, felt we're a real big chance of winning, and obviously ran into a pretty smart one. The stablemate's a pretty smart horse and put us to bed pretty quick. But I really like the way this horse finished the race off, and he sort of gives you the indication that he'd only improved from that run. Stepping
up to 1,400 metres as well, will that help him out?
The 1,400 will be no problem for him. He's if anything, it'd be advantageous for him, and probably they don't normally go as quick tempo, but the quicker they go, the better it sort of suit him. He'll be strong at the end of it.
How's he come through that first up run?
Really well. We had an unfortunate thing in the trial during the week. He just got a bit of a fright and got his played up a bit in the gates and got his leg stuck, and we had to sort of miss that, but he's gone over there and jumped out since and gone beautifully, and very happy with him now, so he's ready to go.
Starship, Paul, that looked like a nice trial from him.
Yeah, he was just starting to hit his straps towards the end of last season. He struck a pretty tough heat. There's some very promising horses in that, but he attacked the line very strongly in his trial, and if the race is run with speed, he should get a bit of prize money.
Is he the type of horse that's just taken a while to find form here?
Yeah, for sure. Look, he came here with 1,800 metre form, and the further I ran him last season, at the beginning of last season, the slower he got. So freshened him up and came back to 1,200 metres, and although he looks like the sort of horse that wants further, he seems to be, that's the distance he's performing his best at.
John, looking at the National Day Cup, you've got 3 runners there. Start off with Mr. Stunning, obviously champion Griffin from a couple of seasons ago. How's his preparation been?
He's been fine. He hasn't had any problems. He's healthy and well. He's sound, and his trials have been good. So, I'd expect him to run somewhere near his best the first day out.
133 pounds on the weekend. Is that a concern for you?
Yeah, of course. Handicap's a handicap. That's what it's all about. But it's a very strong race. It's some of our better horses that in a handicap situation, which we don't see very often. It's certainly an intriguing and interesting race because of that, and I think it'll be an exciting event.
Mention the weights. Does the weights really bring DB Pin into it, do you think?
You would think so. It's always going to be a matter of handicap. So on that mark with a horse that's 111, and he's got such a good track record that he should have more in him. So you'd be expecting him to get some prize money in the race.
The Amazing Kids won this race 12 months ago. How do you compare him now to how he was then?
He was probably a better horse last season at the beginning of it, but I wouldn't sort of give up on him yet. He's got the experience, and he's certainly got a proven record, and he's good fresh. So if he has a good campaign this year, he's capable of winning another feature.
We get to see Contentment back from Japan for the first time, John. How's he returned from there?
Not too bad. He seems all right. I think the horses that go for the Yasuda Kinin, they need a good break after that, and it's the last race of our season, and they've just about had enough by then. But he seems okay. His trials have been good, and he seems healthy and well. So we'll start running him.
Where would you like to see him from that gate?
Well, where I'd like to see him and where he gets to would be two completely different things. But it's an awkward draw, but he does have some speed. So I think that he can get up into a position. The gate speed that he has will help him a lot.
And just finally, John, Western Express, how do you think he'll measure up in this grade?
I think he's up to the class under handicap conditions. He carries a very light weight. He's drawn on the inside, which is probably not suitable for a very big horse. But if he can get a clear run, well, he'll be in the finish.
Line Seeker, Paul, what are your expectations first up with him? Very honest horse, and he comes to hand pretty quickly too. He's a light frame sort of horse, but if he's got a better barrier than what he's had in the past, so he could take up a sort of midfield position. I'd expect him to round it off pretty well, but 7 pounds off his back is going to be a big help.
Were you happy with the way that he trialled leading in?
Yeah, he trialled. He probably did a little bit more in the trial than what I really wanted, but he's come through the trial fine, and he should be competitive.
He's had a few little issues along the way. What's he been like to train?
Well, there's nothing to him. He's a narrow horse. He's had a wind operation. Paul Robinson, it's one of the best I've ever seen in my life. He's come back perfect. So, but he's starting to get to a mark now that's going to be a little bit difficult for him. And possibly later in the season, some of those handicap races with a light weight, you could see him running 1 or 2 of those.